everyone, and welcome to another video. It's the end of October, oh my goodness. So I'm going to be going over all the things I got for the last half of this month. There's a couple, it's not a huge amount, but there is quite a few interesting things I hope you guys enjoy. And rather than spend too long on this intro, I'll just get straight into it. So first of all, for these last 2 weeks, I've gotten a lot of figures, a lot more than I really expected. The timing just seemed to work out. And the first of those figures was Orange Rouge, or Good Smiles Nendos of Tadashi Yamaguchi from Haikyuu. He is the most recent of the Haikyuu Nendoroid lineup. Very cute, like all of their releases thus far. We only have, they've recently released Daichi, so hopefully we will see him in the next pickup video. And then the final two Karasuno members, which are the final two that I will probably be buying, being Asahi and Tanaka, have been announced finally. So yes, pretty soon I'll be finished with these Nendos. Only a few more to go, but they are really cute. Really, I think if you're a fan of the series or fan of particular characters, they're a good investment because especially with sports series, there are so many characters, such large cast that not everybody gets scale figures, and I find that Haikyuu has had very hit or miss scale figures, so the Nendos really do serve their purpose as an option for people wanting to collect merchandise of their favorite character, and Good Smile always does good work. Next for figures, we have the most recent scale figure of Edward Elric, released by Artifacts J or Kotobukiya. He's a 1/8 scale, and as you can see, I have the limited version. So it comes with an extra base, as you can see, with a bunch of owl, or it has owl, some creepy faces, and a bunch of arms there. And Edward himself, if I can just take him off here, is sculpted really well. It's so wonderful to see this franchise finally get some merchandise, or at least high quality merchandise. There was a lot of years there when the series was being released that we didn't really get anything, but now with this scale and the Mustang scale, as well as the most recently announced and released Nendoroids, the series has finally gotten some figures, which is sort of surprising that it's taken so long considering how popular this series is. The regular version of this release only has this bottom part as well as Edward. And this one does also come with an alternate chest piece, which is just like shirt-free automail version, and also an alternate grinning face. I just have him in the standard, what you would get in the regular release as of right now. But yeah, they've done a really great job on this one. I'm so glad that one of my favorite franchises is finally getting some love. Yeah, it's sort of amazing that it's taken this long, but with the upcoming re-release of the manga and everything else, I'm quite excited for this coming year, for all of the Full Metal that I will be able to indulge myself with. Next is a much older figure. This figure is almost, I think it's 10 years old now at this point. It's a 1/7 scale from Max Factory, and that is Emma from Rama, A Victorian Romance. As you can see, she's very tall. I don't even have her on her stand, but she is absolutely gorgeous. Just really lovely and very well made. She's really heavy. Like I said, this is a 10-year-old figure now, so she is quite hard to find, but I managed to find her in like the secondary market for a really good price. I don't know if she's actually like new in box, but she had all her plastic and everything was wrapped up. And I did get her for a very good price. Her box wasn't like too beat up or anything, so I'm not entirely sure whether they just wanted to get rid of her or what. But yeah, this figure comes with 2 replacement glasses because her glasses are actually very fine wire and do just only sit on her face. So if you own this and lose her glasses through mishaps, then there are options. But yes, generally she has a very large base. She can't really balance without it, but the whole pose is very indicative of the series, and yeah, if you're a fan, it's nice to see something like this. I know maids were very, very popular, and sort of still are popular within the figure community, but not really, I guess, this type of maid. I don't know really how to explain it. It's not just a maid costume. But yes, really lovely, well done work, especially considering her age, and I'm so glad to finally own her. So the next thing is the only anime that I got for this period, and that is the Kickstarter release of Mind Game, one of Masaki Uesa's earliest works. This film was on Netflix for Australia. I don't know if the rest of the world has access to this film. Australia got a DVD release years and years and years ago, and like I said, it was on Netflix for a long time. I don't know if it's still on there. But as a big Yuasa film, I have seen this one. It's not my favorite of his works, but it is pretty indicative of his style. It's very reflective of where he started and sort of how he's evolved since. This was a Kickstarter in conjunction with Studio 4 Degree C and Anime Limited, I believe. The Kickstarter work was actually run and fulfilled by the studio, but I think Anime Limited helped them with the global aspect of it. And this release does come with DVD and Blu-ray with English, French, and Spanish subtitles. It is a digipack, as you can see, and inside we have some stickers and some art cards, Blu-ray and DVD there. Stickers, as you can see, and art cards, again, as you can really just see. If you've seen this movie, it's quite weird. And then just a small sort of art book inside. There's no written words or anything. It's just like keyframes and sketches and all this sort of thing. But it's a pretty cool little release, especially considering we have never had a English-friendly Blu-ray release of this series. It's, like I said, Australia got their DVD release several years ago. I want to say probably close to 10 years ago. But this was the first time this has been made available in Blu-ray outside of Japan. So, as a fan of Yuasa, I pledged for this. It wasn't a huge amount of money, considering some of the other anime Kickstarters that are out there. And it is a full-length, like, feature film, but it's not for everyone. I wouldn't recommend you go into this film blind, especially if you've never watched any of the director's other works. This isn't really a good starting point, in my opinion, but it is a pretty interesting film, and it's one that I think you can rewatch when the mood hits you. It's not one that I would rewatch all the time, but it's definitely got a lot to it that you can just either sit down, watch it, and sort of have it playing and not really pay a huge amount of attention to it, or you can sit down and analyze it. Like, you can enjoy it in lots of different ways, depending on the mood you're in. So yes, Mind Game. Kickstarter release, the turnaround rate for this was very quick, but as you can generally expect that from Japanese, like the actual studio's fulfillment. But yeah, glad to have this film, and yeah, I hope we see more Kickstarters like this, because I think when the actual studios get involved, things go a lot more smoothly, and we get some more cult niche titles like this one. Yeah, so I hope we see some more things like this in the future. Then First for Manga is one I actually got today, so I haven't had the chance to read it, but it is the most recent volume of Black Butler, volume 24. I'm not, like, I don't really love this arc. I find it very, because Black Butler always sort of seesaws between the extremely, like, gothic horror aspect of it and the extremely camp, like, silly comedic side of it. And sometimes it blends those two parts well, sometimes it doesn't. This particular arc, at least with the last volume, I'm going to say this. With Black Butler, I find every arc is very interestingly executed. There's a lot of ideas and like historical context that's done really, really, really well in Black Butler, and it creates like a twist in the execution of the manga to how it would be in reality, and it really does sometimes catch you off guard. That's the same for this current arc. In saying that, a lot of the problems that I have with the other side of the comedic parts of this manga really are exacerbated in this current arc. So whilst I do really enjoy Black Butler, and I think it has a lot of good things in it, and it's definitely one to try out if you're interested and not to judge sort of preemptively, this particular arc hasn't been my favorite, and I'm sort of looking forward to seeing the conclusion of it. And from what I've seen and heard whispers about for upcoming things, there's some major revelations coming up in the manga. I'm not up to date. I'm just following these English releases. So I have seen some spoilers, and I'm pretty interested to see how we get from what is currently happening in the manga to what, like in these English releases, to what is currently being released in Japan. Yeah, it's intriguing, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes, because like I said, for as much as I dislike a lot of the lighter comedic silliness of this manga, it does help to, first of all, lighten the mood and get you sort of introduced to what they're trying to do. But when it has that twist, or when it has the major revelation, then it gets really interesting, in my opinion. So I'm waiting for the big, interesting revelation. We've already had somewhat of one in this current arc, but I'm looking forward to seeing how it concludes. I don't know if it concludes in this arc, in this volume or not. I don't know. But yeah, it's been a while since we've had a new Black Butler volume. But in saying that, I haven't been buying them as they've been released. I've bought them sort of all at once from a secondhand seller. But yeah, I know that volume 25 is somewhat near future, so we should be seeing that early next year, maybe. I don't know, I can't remember. But yes, finally glad to have this volume, and looking forward to seeing where it goes from here. Next is another one I haven't had the opportunity to actually sit down and read yet, but a manga that I love quite a lot, and that is Horomia, Volume 9. Yeah, I really, really enjoy this manga. I think it's done really, really well. I know a lot of people agree with me. I'm sure there are plenty who don't. But I find that this shows a very interesting balance between the friendship aspect of the manga and the romantic aspect of the manga, and both sides aren't really overshadowed by the other. I don't know how long this series will be. I know it's already up to 10 or 11 in Japan, but I don't feel like it's going to last like too much longer. This isn't going to be a Kimi Toroke situation where we're finally seeing the end at about 30 volumes. I think this will probably not go too far past 12, 15 volumes. So I might be completely wrong, but that's my feeling. And so I'm always happy whenever a new volume of this comes out, because it is really just very likable. The characters have very good chemistry, not just romantic chemistry, but just how they interact and goof around, and some of the comedic bits in this series is just perfect. It's just hilarious. I love it, and I think it's just so funny. Yeah, that's another thing. If you like comedy, this is a good one. It's not afraid to be too silly, but silly sort of at its own expense. It's not mean-spirited about anything, and it's not sort of over-the-top, zany, just off-the-wall goofball comedy either. Yeah, it's just a really likable group of teens that hang out, and it's great. I really like it. Next is a new series for me. This series has been released and finished for a long time, and it's one that I have always wanted to get into. I've seen the anime, but never really got around to the manga. It's actually based off of light novels, so if they were to ever release the light novels, which I have high doubts that they will, then I would be all over those. But for now, we only have the anime and the manga, in English at least, and that is number 6, Volume 1, by Atsuko Asano and Hinoki Kino. This series is 9 volumes long, I believe, and follows 2 boys and then later young men, and in sort of a dystopian sci-fi future. It's really very good, although when the show was coming out it was quite controversial because people don't like to sort of subtlety doesn't do well with the masses, unfortunately, and then when things come out of subtlety and become overt, then they freak out and feel like they've been tricked, when really, no. I mean, come on, guys. In saying that, I really enjoy the anime. It's not perfect. It has a lot of problems, most importantly being pace. And that's because it is an Otamane show, so only 11 episodes long. And I think it adapted like 4 or 5 books in one series, in the anime. It was a bit of a mess, just pacing-wise, but overall, had some really interesting ideas, really interesting characters, and just had a very unique way of showing things that hadn't really been done in anime at the time. Now it's a little bit more common, especially with some of the recent shows we've been seeing, but I think number 6 really did pave the way to how to really figure out what shows could show and how overt you could be, especially on the Western side. But yes, so I'm looking forward to actually reading this. I have not yet, again. But I am sure I will enjoy it because I do enjoy the anime. I'm fairly certain the manga fixes up quite a few of the pacing problems. So yeah, looking forward to it. Next is another new release, and the last for my quote-unquote normal manga, one of my most highly anticipated series at the moment. I really didn't anticipate how much I would enjoy this series when I first started it, but now I just adore it, and this volume really does cement it as one of my favorite ongoing things currently being released, and that is Land of the Lustrous by Haruko Ichikawa. This volume is incredible. I say that not only as a manga fan, as sort of a art fan in general, as someone with a geology degree, as someone who enjoys sort of introspective media. This just does a lot of things really, really well. It's so different from a lot of very popular current series, and I'm always grateful whenever Kodansha does release series like these that maybe are a little more risky business-wise, but hopefully find an audience here in the Western fandom and market. Currently has an anime coming out. I have seen one episode. I saw the first episode on High Dive. I know that it's streaming on Amazon in the US, but outside of the US, it is on High Dive, which is like Sentai's streaming service. It's pretty good. It's pretty solid. My sister, who hasn't read any of the manga, enjoyed it a lot. It is completely CG, so I mean that might not be your thing, but I think it really works for this series in particular because of the sort of inhuman aspect of the Lustrous. But disregarding all of that, I hope that the anime does encourage people to try out the manga, because it is immensely, immensely entertaining and just interesting, intriguing. Every volume just gets better and better. I think there's 6 or 7 volumes out in Japan, and from what I've heard, just the development that's happened over those volumes, even now that we're seeing, is just immense. It's really, really interesting. It comes at characters from a completely different direction than I think a lot of other series do. And like I generally say, the artwork in this is gorgeous. If you like stylish character design and just panel design, this is one for you to pick up, because it's striking. It's gorgeous, 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 and just overall amazing. I'm, like always, I'm looking forward to the next volume, because it's just the cliffhanger in this volume. I can't wait for the next volume. It's gonna be such a wait, because it takes a couple months for these to come out. Pick it up or try it out. Go to your library or borrow it from a friend, or hey, if you take my word for it and you think you'll like it, buy it, because it's wonderful and I think more people should try it. It's definitely very different and very interesting, and I hope that more people give it a shot, especially considering new anime and all of that. So that's it for my normal pickups. I do have 2 BL manga though as well that I got this month. The first being the 5th and most recent volume of Border by Kazuma Kodaka. Pretty solid volume. I liked it. This came out several years ago now. I'm hoping we see another volume from June, but with so many issues that they have, and I don't know if there's a volume 6 out in Japan. I just want to see a conclusion sometime within my lifetime, but who knows? Maybe that'll never happen. It's very good. If you're a BL fan, you should try out Kodaka's works, especially Border. I think Border, from the 3 series of hers that I've read, Border's probably my favorite. It does have, a few typical, like, BL issues, but not as much as Kizuna, her earlier work. And in saying that, I enjoy Kizuna for what it is. So yeah, try out Kodaka's work. Her artwork is really wonderful. I like her character design a lot, and she's very consistently good throughout all of her works. Kizuna's very dated, very 80s, but, you know, disregarding that, there's some really, really good art. There's some really good character moments in this volume in particular. So yeah, if you like character-driven BL that isn't just sex and then happily ever after, try out Kodaka's works because you probably won't be disappointed. They're pretty good. And finally for the BL, I got Not Enough Time by Shoko Hidaka. This is a series of one-shots by the author of Blue Morning and Does the Flower Blossom. Like with all sort of one-shot / short story collections, there are some that are better than others. That's equally true with this. If you're a fan of her work, you probably already have this. If not, it's okay. Like, it's not a must-have. I would say her other works, you know, actual several volume long stories are much more worth your time. But if you've read all of those, if you're a big fan, then this is, you know, it's alright. It's, you know, it's a good starting point, I think, and it's just something, you know, a bit mindless and fluffy to spend your time with. It's nothing groundbreaking. So yeah, it was sort of the last part of her available in English catalog that I didn't have, and it was cheap, so I decided to pick it up. And yeah, like I said, it's alright. I'd read it again, but like I wouldn't super recommend it. It's a short story collection. It's exactly what you expect from one of those, and yeah. So like I said before, not a huge amount for this period, but still quite a few interesting things. I've already put the figures away, so I'm not bringing them out. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Maybe there's some titles you're following here, maybe there's not. Maybe there's some stuff that from me talking about it, you find interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of really good stuff coming out currently. I'm looking forward to next month's releases because there's a lot of good titles being released, including some debuts. So we'll see. Yeah, but thanks for watching, guys. Sorry, it's always so long between videos. I hope you guys enjoy. Bye, and I'll see you in the next video.